Hello, everyone, and welcome to debate number 4, Test Cricket versus T20. Today with us, we have Toastmaster Prathamesh, who will be representing the Test Cricket, and Toastmaster Raghavan, who will be representing T20. So even I'm as eager as you to see what happens in this debate. So let's jump in. With me, I have Toastmaster Swati, who will be signaling us with her timer cards. Let me spotlight her.
So let me just share the screen.
Yes, Toastmaster Swati. So here we have the timer cards. So Toastmaster Prathamesh will be our opening batsman, and he'll be asking the first question to Toastmaster Raghavan. Toastmaster Prathamesh, over to you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So it is a nice sunny afternoon to discuss the topic of Test cricket versus T20. And I read the write-up given by Toastmaster Raghavan, and it was so beautifully written that I thought for a minute that it is for the Test cricket, but it is in fact for the T20. And one of the remark mentioned is that the T20 has helped in developing the cadre of all-rounder, shifting the paradigm away from the specialist batsmen or bowlers. Basically, I think the speaker is trying to say that basically we are trying to get more all-rounder players to the T20 game. So I just wanted to ask, does that mean the T20 format is forcing every team to have more and more batsmen in the team? Basically, in are we looking for batsmen in the bowlers as well, so that every team can have a safe score? Hasn't it become a contest between two batting sides rather than a contest between ball and bat, which is the true form of cricket?
So I am. Can I start my answer? And the timer card is right. Yeah.
Yes, Toastmaster Raghavan, you can start.
Yeah. Toastmaster Prathamesh, we need to understand the fact. If you were to see the overall format of the T20 matches played in India and otherwise, there are certain matches where the scores are more than 200. There are other matches where the scores are between 100 and 200. And at cases, there are matches where the scores are even less than 100. If, as you say, the batting team has the upper hand over the bowling team, all these matches would end up with scores more than 200, which is not the case. We also need bowlers who restrict these batsmen to a score lesser than 200. And that has been the real find of the T20 cricket. Not only have batsmen come up who have emerged to various forums and played international cricket, but there have also been bowlers who have emerged and have successfully been a part of various formats of the game. In fact, a majority of the bowlers that we find today, whether it be of pace bowlers or spinners, have emerged from various matches played in the T20 format. I need not have to cite examples. They are quite visible. You just need to go through the entire set of bowlers in various teams today. And let me be quite confident on this. There are more than 60% of the bowlers who have come out of the T20 leagues conducted in the various countries, whether it be India, Pakistan, Australia, or England. Hence is my submission that it's not developing specialist batsmen or contest between two batting teams, but developing all-rounders who know all formats of the game.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghavan. And with that, I would request you to pose your first question to Toastmaster Prathamesh.
Toastmaster Prathamesh, on one hand, you have lauded the efforts of India in the test series conducted with Australia, where they won it 2-1. On the other end, you have told that India team does an excellent job in the country, and in the overseas, it fails miserably. Unfortunately, you seem to have attributed that to T20 as a reason. there are 2 points that you need to consider. This has been even before T20 came into existence. And what India has achieved in Australia is highly attributable to the T20 development in India through various matches, including the IPL. Isn't that so?
So Toastmaster Raghavan. So basically when I mentioned that the Team India fails miserably in the when we have the overseas tours. So when I say that, basically I wanted to pitch in the point that still we have very good games overseas where initially we go and Indian batsmen face the real challenge of Australian bowling or England bowling, and then basically they show the grit and determination and they come back. So that's why I took the example of the Australia series, because it all after the first match it almost looked at okay, we could not stand in front of such a great bowling side and on such pitches, but then we fought back, and at the end what happened is that though we nowadays we laud cricket and IPL so more that, but because of that one series, everyone still started talking about Test cricket on Instagram. Basically, the younger generation who is liking or who is growing up looking at the IPL and T20 cricket more, they also lauded the efforts put by Indian team and the victory, and it's basically historic win. So basically, the Test cricket in today's world also is being successful to attract the young crowds. It's not that only the oldies are watching the Test cricket. And as far as the sourcing talent is concerned, so India is full of cricketing talent. So in my opinion, we don't need that. We don't need tens of T20 leagues to find good talent. We already have Ranji or domestic leagues where we get good talents, and basically that is also a good source of talent. We just don't need too many T20 leagues to find a talent. And as per my opinion, a good T20 player may not be a good Test player, because in T20 you just hit the ball, and if it goes out of the stadium, obviously you are a hit batsman. But that may not hold true in Test cricket. There are enough opportunities for bowlers to find weaknesses in Test cricket. Basically, every skill has to be perfect in Test cricket to stay on ground and play defensively and find an opportunities to hit the ball. Basically, I agree that there is an advantage with the bowlers in Test cricket, but then there are destructive bowlers. But then with the batsman, it's again how defensively they play and how long they can stay on the ground, and they test the patience of bowlers. That's the beauty of Test cricket. So I don't think that these qualities we can find in players who are growing up playing T20 cricket in India.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Prathamesh. Now I request you to pose the second question to Toastmaster Raghavan.
Yeah, surely. Yeah. So in the Toastmaster Raghavan's write-up, there is a mention about T20 cricket emerging as a savior when basically football and tennis is slowly taking away the audience. Basically, audience is in one way we can say that audience is basically looking for a smaller format. Basically, it's more of an entertainment than a game. Basically, we are looking at cricket to give us a short 3 to 4 hours entertainment than to have a classic 5 days game. So in a way, is the speaker trying to say that we are changing the game so that we can attract more attention, so that obviously it also leads to more sponsors and then more money for the players and cricket boards. So for example, when the current IPL is going on, like we are more talking about the successful trade ad than which team is playing better. So are we saying that we are moving towards grabbing more attention of the viewers?
Well, Toastmaster Prathamesh, when in 2003, there was a debate on a new format of cricket that needed to be developed. A series was ended, a trophy was ended. They decided, what would we do next? And at that point of time, they had a thought that today, where is cricket? Two sports, tennis, football, they were occupying what cricket was doing in various parts of the world. Australia was already moving towards football. South Africa was already moving towards football. Various countries had already made their clear pathways moving towards football. North America was already captured by baseball, so it was no way that cricket was going to make an inroads. A vote was taken. What would we do? Do we still develop another trophy which is going to get an attention and continue with the same format that we are doing today? Or do we go in for a new format which is going to change the face of the game? A vote was taken, and that vote was won by a margin of 4 votes at 11-7. Thus emerged T20 as a format. Within 1 year, it emerging as a format, it got $250,000, the highest that could be got in English cricket. The same was there in Pakistan in 2004. The same was there in Australia. The same in 2008 when India introduced IPL was there. So in all formats of the game, T20 had shown what test cricket and what one-day international matches could not do. It had already got the market. To add to that, let us remember at that point of time, you didn't have CRED showing its ad. You didn't have anything, any company running the entire thing in an electronic platform. You were only dependent on the market from the viewership in the stadium. And this was purely based on the tickets sold in the stadium. Ever since, your T20 has captured the market. It is something that needs to be accepted. Tomorrow, there is a good possibility that cricket may go into the Olympics, not within a year or 2 years, but they are today thinking of 2034 when cricket would enter into the Olympics. 3 days ago, there was a consideration on which format would make it to the Olympics. Unfortunately, it was not test cricket. It was not one-day cricket either. Even T20 had a scalping chance because ICC is today promoting T20 as its format to go into the Olympics, whereas the Olympics committee is more advanced and it wants T10 to be its format. So tomorrow, if cricket has to move into a larger level, definitely your test cricket or one-day cricket is not going to be the way. T20 is going to be the way. And for any sport to prosper, let us face the reality. Money is needed for it to run. T20 is a solution. It is a need. You may want something in life, but that's not going to give you a solution.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghavan. Now I request you to pose your question to your second question to Toastmaster Prathamesh.
Toastmaster Prathamesh, you were lauding the efforts of bowlers in the test cricket. You were telling me that test cricket is the one where batsmen, they get ample time to see the batsmen doing their best strokes, then deciding how to bowl, how to get their wicket. Well, I was a huge fan of cricket 15 years ago. Unfortunately, managed to see a batsman called as Jimmy Adams, if you remember him. He had a nickname called as Padams. I saw him for an entire day just padding the ball. For an entire day, the Indian bowlers were trying to bowl in all sorts of ways to make him out. All that he did was just pad the ball. It was very clear that West Indies could not win the match. He just padded the ball for an entire day, moved it towards a draw. Well, Sunil Gavaskar himself managed to score 36 runs in 236 balls at Lords. and at one interview told that I earned the name of a snail. Well, are these the kind of players that we want to develop in cricket by going towards the test cricket format?
So, Toastmaster Raj, yeah, good point about it's a clear comparison. I agree that it's a clear comparison between very I won't say slow, but there is enough opportunities and time for both the teams and basically both bowlers and batsmen to work on their weaknesses or their strengths while playing the cricket in Test cricket. So when you took the example of Padams or even Sunil Gavaskar's 36 into 36 balls, so at the end of the day, you remember those innings. That's the point of Test cricket. Basically, even like if I can take the example of Lakshman and Dravid's partnership, or even Virendra Sehwag's 309. So we remember this innings, we watched him again and again, and we cherish those moments. But sadly, I don't remember the result of a T20 match which happened 10 days back. So I don't remember any innings. Maybe perhaps the first IPL game where Brendan McCullum scored a beautiful century. So though it was the first match, so I remember, but not after that. I don't really remember those T20 matches. That is point one. And second point is you get judged very fast in T20 cricket. So we know that Dhoni is a great batsman. He is known for his helicopter shots and finishing the matches. But whenever he don't score for 5 balls straight or 10 balls straight, we start blaming the player. So that is what the fans started growing up as a emotion, like while watching T20 cricket. They want these fast results. At the end, we are moving towards a result-oriented game rather than a beauty of Test cricket, where there are two teams, like there are 4 sessions, and like you can't deny the beauty of the chase in the 4th innings, which basically the teams have to build up for 4 days, and there is this 5th day of game. So basically Test cricket creates those many opportunities. There are so many possibilities. There are various decisions which can affect. Basically, there is weather. There is a lot of talk about pitch and everything. So there are so many variables in Test cricket. But when it comes to T20 cricket, there is just one variable, that who is scoring more runs, and whichever batsman is taking more balls to score runs, we basically start blaming that batsman. So basically, even though we blame the Test players for, but at the end of the day, we remember the Rahul Dravid as a player, as a great player in Test cricket, which sadly I don't think we can say about a player which is really great in T20. Everyone seems to be good when he scores runs, and everyone seems to be bad when he doesn't score.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pratham. Now I would request Toastmaster Raghavan to provide his closing remarks.
There are certain points that we need to remember when we see the entire concept of T20 versus Test cricket. It is very easy to get carried emotionally. But let us face the facts. The 2001 innings of Lakshman was 1 in a million. There are not many cases where a team has won from the 3rd innings. Lakshman himself was known as a 3rd inning specialist because of that particular match. After which, there have been a couple of innings where he fared well, and finally did not make it in the long run, had to announce his retirement and go to the Kochi team to play his T20, start his T20 innings. Because let us face the fact, it is so great to be in love with vintage. You are not wrong to want vintage. Yet, the need is more than the want. Cricket needs a faster format. Cricket needs money for its exchequers. Cricket needs a fanfare. We may find specialist batsmen into the cricket form in both the formats, whether it is Test or it is T20. Yes, you will not be forgiven for getting a bad score in T20. You will be blamed if you defend 5 balls without scoring a run. But ultimately, aren't you a batsman? Aren't you supposed to do that? Are you just supposed to defend balls for an entire day just because people would remember that what you did? So just defend balls for an entire day without getting the runs on the board. You do not have an option of a draw in T20. You need results. And cricket is a game which is meant for results, not for draws. If you were to pick up the history of Test cricket, you would find draws as an equal number in the pie to the wins and the losses. Maybe not equal, but almost equal. That is what defines Test cricket, because there is an ample opportunity that people are moving towards a no result game. This is not the need of the hour. The need of the hour is results, and T20 is providing them. It develops batsmen, it develops bowlers, it develops fielders, and it, more importantly, develops all-rounders. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghavan. Now I would request Toastmaster Prathamesh to give his closing remarks.
Yeah. So cricket is a contest, basically, at the end of the day, between ball and bat. Skill of bowler versus response of batsman. Speed of ball versus hand-eye coordination. Magic of spin versus resilience to stay at the crease. So offensive, defensive versus offensive deliveries versus defensive batting, and vice versa. So at the end of the day, cricket should be a game between hitting stumps versus hitting boundaries. There was a time when fearless batting used to be a specialty. Destructive used to be an objective used more for bowlers than batsmen. Resilience, grit, determined effort used to be batsmen's part to stay at wicket and defy the bowlers to celebrate. That is cricket. From literally spanning for more than 10 days to less than 3 hours, cricket has drastically changed. With power hitting and power plays, cricket has become a contest between two batting sides instead of bat versus ball. No score is safe these days, and everyone needs to be an all-rounder to score runs in matches. I still believe in cricket as a Test cricket as a true form of cricket. Test cricket will always be the game that makes waiting for result more endearing. Only a test match can give you the chills of fourth innings close chase that was built for 4 straight days. Only test cricket can give bowlers the need to grab wickets instead of stemming run flow. Only test victory can make players cherish their hard work on the field. Every blister that happened on that day's field gives that extra push to win the match and make the pain worth having. Only test cricket and nothing else makes the batsman to play presence of mind rather than just blunt force. At the end, no one remembers a T20 victory happened 10 days back. Very few would remember the ODI victory where Master Blaster, whose birthday is today, coincidentally, forged his double century. But no one will ever forget the partnership between Lakshman and Dravid at Eden Gardens against Australia, or Sehwag's 309 runs versus Pakistan, or the recent historic win in Australia. They are not just wins or losses, but they are emotions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Prathamesh. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Prathamesh and Toastmaster Raghavan. That was a fantastic experience watching you both debating. Both of your comments and the whole debate was as exciting as the IPL and as memorable as Sehwag's 300, 300 runs from that Test cricket. And both, even though you both were opponents, your charm was no less than Dravid and Lakshman playing together. So I would love to thank both of you for sparing your time and participating in our debate and making this a very memorable experience for all of us. Thank you so much.